Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jason Heide from the Emulator Review. The question of the day is, what if a Nintendo 64 controller mated with a Nintendo GameCube controller? The answer? The Hori Mini-Pad for the Nintendo 64. The Hori Mini-Pad is a fantastic controller, and for anyone out there who is a fan of Nintendo 64, this is definitely something you're going to want in your collection. If you're not a fan of the original Nintendo 64 controller, and I know a lot of people aren't, they're just not really excited about this three-handle setup here with the joystick in the middle. People have asked me this in the past, and I have the solution. This here is a solution to eliminate this controller and have something that handles like a normal, like a GameCube Wavebird, or like a GameCube controller would on the Nintendo 64. And on top of it, you're going to get a different joystick. I'll get into all the details here. So if we move these out of the way, you're going to see a real big similarity between these pads and the GameCube controller. That's because Hori took the GameCube controller and took the Nintendo 64 controller and merged them into one. They took the best of each controller and made them into one. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I bought both these controllers back in 2005 for about $60-65 a piece, brand new in their packaging, shipped from Japan. Now that's really reasonable in that time. Today you can find these controllers anywhere between, I'd say, 60 to upwards to right around 200 or just under 200, depending on the condition that you want them in the box, not in the box, used, new, depending on all that. So if you find it anywhere under $100, loose is typically what they go for. But if you find them in the box for under $100, definitely pick them up. I think that's real reasonable. So let me pull out the blue one here just so I can show you. What you're going to find is that the controller is a whole lot smaller. First of all, it fits in your hand quite nicely. Now, of course, depending on how big your hands are, that it could or could not be a problem. If you do have bigger hands, I'm going to say that this is probably going to be an issue. These controllers are quite a bit smaller than the original Nintendo 64 controllers. But the controller consists of, obviously, a start button, a rubber start button in the middle, your B and A, you got your D-pad here in the middle, here are your 4 yellow C buttons. On the top of the controller, you have your left and right shoulder buttons, as well as a left and right Z button. Remember, on the Nintendo 64 controller, the Z button is right here in the back. Now they have put it up here to get to it pretty easy. And of course, it does have the Nintendo 64 port here with the matching color, just like the original manufacturer had. Now, the thing with Hori, just a little bit of a history on them. Hori started back in 1969, and beginning in 1983, they started working closely with manufacturers like Nintendo. Hori is from Japan, and was one of the first, if not the first, third-party manufacturers to manufacture accessories for their consoles. For Nintendo, Sega, Sony, as well as Capcom, Namco, and so on. They have really good relationships with these companies and are 100% supported to officially license and make these products for their companies, which is really nice. You know, back in the day, some third-party stuff was just garbage, but Hori was always had very strict standards, a very strict production, and their stuff's phenomenal. I love the build quality. I love the plastic. I don't know. You know, I heard somewhere down the line that Hori manufactured the plastic that Nintendo used on their consoles. I don't know that that's true, and I can't back that up by any means. But that's something that I heard down the line. But when holding one of these controllers and playing on one of these controllers, it would not surprise me if that was true. The build quality of these controllers are exactly like a Nintendo controller or a Nintendo console. The plastic's the same. Everything just feels fantastic. The click on each button is phenomenal. And the control overall is fantastic. Now onto the joystick. The joystick itself is a Nintendo GameCube controller joystick. It's great. It is a bit bigger. If we look at the two, if we can compare the two, I'll put them like that. You can see that the Hori Mini-Pad actually has a bit bigger of a joystick itself. So what that means is that, of course, the bigger that it is, the easier your thumb will stay on it. And what's really nice is they added click. You can hear that. It actually clicks now. So now I know games don't really support that. Some games, I don't even know a game that supports it because the Nintendo 64 didn't have that option, but either way, it is there and it is functional, so who knows? Maybe some homebrew games or some off-the-wall games, who knows? Or, and of course, in the back here is your memory card, rumble pack, port, all that sort of thing. So now remember, now I think this is smart because what they did is they realized that most of the games developed for the Nintendo 64 didn't use the D-pad. This is true. Remember, guys, remember when the 64 came out, the whole new hoopla thing about it was that a joystick in the middle of the controller was fantastic. So all the games developed were developed with the joystick in mind and not a whole lot use a D-pad. So what they did is they moved the D-pad right here to the center, kind of out of the way. Now your thumb can slide right over and get to the D-pad easily. The D-pad is a whole lot smaller than it normally is on the other controllers. So really, the D-pad I think is kind of like the weakest link. But then again, a lot of the games aren't even developed to use the D-pad, so don't even worry about that. You use the joystick. What's nice about the joystick is that it is so smooth. It just works. It's great. And even in the contours of inside of here, it even has the same type of design as the GameCube. Everything around it, just from the rubber grip to the plastic surrounding, everything about it is exactly the same as the GameCube. Of course, looking at it from the back, you're going to see, just the two handles here. It is contoured here for your fingers to rest in, which is nice. Your middle fingers rest quite nicely right in there. And other than that, it's just a really comfortable controller. Now, I've played quite a bit with the blue one here. Blue is my color. And I haven't opened the green one before, but I will say that after playing with these, the joystick is definitely more sensitive, I feel, more sensitive than the original Nintendo 64 joystick. Now, that could be good or bad, but it definitely gives you greater, I don't even know what the word is, I guess better accuracy, more of a throw distance, I guess. It definitely will react greater to your movements. And even in like playing Wave Race, one of my favorite games on the console, it was really hard for me to kind of get adapted to it because it was so sensitive. And but I definitely prefer this type of controller over the original when it comes to definitely like racing games or games where you have to move quickly all around a track, or Mario Kart. It works fantastic for. Wave Race it works good for. So I definitely recommend the Hori Mini Pad. So I want to just do a quick review and show you guys these controllers because they are fantastic and definitely something that a lot of people don't know about. And if you're looking for an alternative to your original Nintendo 64 controller, because either one, the joysticks do go out, you guys, and that's actually a really good point here. What I want to talk about is that the joysticks on these are all plastic. Plastic housing, plastic joystick, plastic insides, everything. So after a while, they start to lose, their elasticity per se. So, they will not snap back. They'll get a little loose, and then they'll become to where you can't even play with them at all. It won't work at all. So, but this is a great way to get around that because it is a GameCube joystick, and it doesn't have all the rubbing that it does on this joystick. So, again, they've been thinking outside the box, and they looked at these controllers and said, what is great and what is wrong with this one? What is great? What is wrong with this one? And they took that and they put it into one, and that's what you have here. I really think it's a fantastic controller for the console. Definitely a must-have if you've got some extra cash. I know they're pretty expensive, but in the long run, I think you'll be happy with it. So the Hori Mini Pad, you guys, they come in a variety of colors. They also make the see-through one, just like the original Nintendo 64 consoles, the Funtastic series of consoles, if you will. So you have lots of choices, lots of varieties. Definitely enhance your 64 gaming experience. You guys, thanks for joining me. I'm Jason Heine. This has been an emulator review. Take care. See ya.